Thank you. As my good friend and colleague Bill Capt mentioned, he does like to talk about football at the Fall Executive Board. And I also like to remind him at the Fall Executive Board that football season does not begin until baseball season is over. It may be for the Twins, but not for others. And so, Bill, if you'll indulge me, talk a little bit about baseball as part of my report. So, my fellow pilots, good morning once again. For years, the St. Louis Cardinals have been the model of consistency in Major League Baseball. And for years, I've started my remarks with some reference to the Cardinals, with all due respect to Captain Capt. So I will also try to remain a model of consistency for this report. Since 2009, the Cardinals have won 86 games or more in every season. That's every season. That's a winning record, and then some, every single year. They've reached the playoffs in 6 of those 7 years, and I'm hopeful that they will again reach the playoffs this year. So, what does that have to do with my report to you, the Executive Board? Well, here's my point. The consistently high level of performance of a baseball team is a testament not only to the players on the field, but also to all of the men and women of the entire Cardinals organization. At ALPA, our consistent financial improvement is a testament to all of you here, the MEC chairman, who have answered my relentless call for the last 9 years to live within your budget, maintain fiscal discipline, and demonstrate sound financial judgment. This is indeed a team effort. Just like the Cardinals, from the MVP all the way down to the utility players in the infield, our union is powered by pilots, from MEC leaders like you all the way up to the line pilots that we represent and serve. Everyone has a part, and it takes everyone stepping up and doing their job to reach this kind of success. ALPA is our union, and when we take care of it, we earn this kind of success. Now, let's look at the sabermetrics, if you will, on how we've reached this level of performance. Audited results for 2015 show an operational surplus on a consolidated basis for the second consecutive year of $964,000. For 2015, ALPA's dues revenue was $138.3 million, a 6.5% increase over 2014. Looking at ALPA's expenses in 2015, flight pay loss incurred was $33 million, a 20% increase over 2014, attributable to improved contracts at several of our MECs. Office and administrative expenses totaled $22 million, which reflects a 19% increase over the prior year. That increase can be found in expense categories where ALPA received management reimbursement from transition process agreements during fiscal year of 2014, but not in 2015. ALPA PAC expenditures of just over $1.9 million, up 11% from 2014 totals, is a testament to our continued commitment to support political candidates that endorse issues that are important to our profession. Employee-related costs totaling $59 million reflects a 4% increase over 2014. And finally, travel-related expenses decreased 4% as compared to 2014 activities. The ALPA entities in these consolidated results are ALPA, the MCF, 1625 Corporation, the ALPA Emergency Relief Fund, Kitty Hawk, and ALPA PAC. ALPA operations, not including the MCF, generated a surplus of nearly $5.7 million. The MCF generated a deficit that year of $2.1 million, which is attributable to outflows and MCF activities that exceeded investment returns for the fund. Kitty Hawk also generated an operating deficit of $2.1 million related to litigation settlement amounts. And the ALPA Emergency Relief Fund and 1625 Corporation posted a modest surplus and loss, respectively. Now, looking at consolidated income 2009 through 2016, we've come a long way from that $16 million deficit we dealt with as recently as 2009. Today, we have consolidated income of $25 million. Now, that sounds like a lot so far in 2016, and it is. But keep in mind that profit sharing has already been baked in for this year, which represents 8% of our budgeted revenue. For that reason, income growth is going to slow for the remainder of this year. Going forward, we must continue to be measured in our actions to provide the resources and services ALPA members expect and deserve, and recapitalize our strategic funds while still demonstrating sound financial judgment. As you see here, our actual and projected dues since 2009 have steadily risen from our post-9/11 low and are projected to rise again this year. You can also see that we've been conservative with our budgeted dues, with actual dues coming in above our projections for each of those years as well. Understand, though, that while we've exceeded projections the last few years, this will eventually level off, so we continue to be responsible and conservative to account for the cyclical nature of the industry that we all work in. I'm happy to report that last month, ALPA's Executive Council unanimously approved next year's budget. For 2017, we plan for $163 million in revenue, which is a 13.8% increase over 2016. It's important to note that with this budget, the association continues to advance our strategic priorities and support our pilot groups involved in contract negotiations and mergers. The revenue growth in 2017 is being driven by improved contracts, modest growth, profit sharing, and the welcome addition of Frontier Airlines. Hello again, Brian. The Administrative and Support Account, or the A&S account, funds ALPA National's committees, departments, and operations. Expenses cover employee salaries, property rental and maintenance, flight pay loss, and meeting expenses. As you know, the A&S account is ALPA's largest account. Its $82.9 million budget for 2017 represents a modest 4.6% increase over last year. Of the $143.2 million in dues revenue that we budgeted for 2016, this slide highlights our financial performance through July 31st. $104 million in income on $79 million in expense has generated a year-to-date surplus of $25 million. Once again, the direct result of team effort in action. This slide provides a more detailed breakdown of the various sources of this year's income as they compare to the association's largest expense categories. As mentioned earlier, ALPA continues to operate with a surplus. This year, we've not only seen an increase in what we budgeted for A&S income, but we've also witnessed a decrease in estimated expenses. Earning more, spending less demonstrates the continued prudent use of our pilots' hard-earned dues dollars in representing their interests. We will look at ALPA's 2017 budget in greater detail this afternoon in Delegate Committee 1. ALPA's Operating Contingency Fund, or OCF, is a sinking fund with surpluses that are carried forward year over year. The OCF also receives 3.5% of current dues income through ALPA's annual budgeting process. Thanks to your continued focus on financial discipline, the OCF fund balance continues to move in a positive direction. Indeed, the OCF fund balance has recovered from the lows of 2008 and 2009. The current balance of $15.9 million will ensure that MECs have supplemental funds available to them to meet their pilot group's goals and objectives. The OCF is divided into three sub-funds: the operating fund, the contingency fund, and the special projects fund. As I alluded to a moment ago, both the operating fund and the contingency fund offer MECs a source of supplemental financing when pilot groups are engaged in contract negotiations or facing other extraordinary circumstances. This slide shows how the different accounts were allocated in 2016 so far. 10 pilot groups have been granted operating fund allocations totaling $2.2 million this year, though only $850,000 of that amount has been used so far. 4 other pilot groups have received contingency fund distributions totaling more than $219,000 in 2016. The major contingency fund continues to be the association's most visible strategic asset, and the board of directors has endorsed initiatives to protect and enhance this fund. ALPA is making a concerted effort to rebuild this fund with $1.5 million from dues income this year. This follows a $1.5 million recapitalization from last year. Other efforts to ensure that the MCF remains viable include revised allocation and spending guidelines and the transitioning of both the Kitty Hawk insurance premium and organizing expenses from the MCF to the A&S account. As you can see from this chart, our efforts are starting to take hold. For the first time in a very long time, the MCF is trending up. There's still a lot of work to be done, but this is a positive step going forward. Through the first 7 months of 2016, the MCF expenses have totaled $565,000, with 5 pilot groups receiving authorized allocations. And as these MECs move into the end game of negotiations, we can expect MCF-related expenses to increase by design. Last year, I announced ALPA's efforts to replace a 20-year-old patchwork software and data storage network with a new system. We're starting to see some important changes on this effort, informally called Project Amber, which will provide a broader range of capabilities, improved efficiencies, and greater security. Earlier this year, we rolled out an updated expense system, Infor-XM, and last month, our finance department upgraded to a new accounting system as well. And later this year, our members will be able to apply for ALPA insurance online instead of filling out paper applications and sending them via snail mail. All of these improvements, and more to come, will enable the various components of ALPA's infrastructure to interact and communicate more effectively while offering additional levels of protection to service our members. The new system will also provide our members and pilot volunteers with easy access to more of the information that they need to do their jobs. Next year, we have 3 main objectives planned. 1, new finance reporting features that will make life easier for our treasurers. You're welcome if you're in the audience. 2, introducing a new membership system. And 3, an improved MEC toolbox to make it easier for MECs to communicate with their members. We've also rolled out another item that I think will prove to be extremely beneficial for our volunteer leaders, and that is e-learning modules. Currently available on the members' website, you will find online financial training modules for new volunteers and for secretary-treasurers. And in the coming months, we'll be adding additional, more detailed modules for our secretary-treasurers as well. And as an aside, for those of you going to the BOD next month, as Bill mentioned, e-learning modules are also available to help you prepare for your trip to the BOD. 2 of the 3 installments are already up and were active on the website. So in conclusion, let me point out that the results that I've reported to you today don't just happen. It's not the result of anybody up here at the table. It is the result of everybody here. The St. Louis Cardinals didn't win 11 World Series championships based on hope. And we haven't gotten where we are today without your hard work. Your prudent use of your members' hard-earned dues dollars made these improvements possible. Make no mistake about that. With sound financial planning and continued fiscal discipline, we'll continue to meet the challenges of the future and remain the strongest, most effective, and most respected pilot union in the world. Our union is indeed powered by pilots like those of you sitting around the table today. Thank you. Thank you for participating as a leader in your union, working on behalf of your pilots to benefit the entire profession and your families. And most of all, for being mindful of your members' hard-earned dues dollars. And go Cardinals. Sorry, Bill. Thank you.